And hello, on behalf of Photophy, this is Sonali Devnani doing a live video, and we're going to be talking about street portraits or portraits on the streets. I would love to hear all your comments, all your questions that you would like to ask. Hi Pankaj, hi Shimna. Welcome everybody. We're just waiting for a few more people to join in. Hello, Mr. Snapper. Hi, Naughty Tanu. So we're going to be talking about street portraiture and portraits, and how to get them for all the people who are going to be joining. Is there any kind of questions that I would love to be answering questions except just talking. We're going to talk about how to approach your subject, which is probably the most essential part of clicking a portrait. And I always tell people this, and if anyone's noticed, I am a portrait photographer. I do believe that when you connect with a subject, when you do connect with a subject and you're clicking a portrait, you are connecting to their soul. You are connecting to that person, and it's a story that you tell through the emotion or the expression that your picture is going to portray, and what you thought about it at that time. So this kind of portrait studies. I mean, a lot of people get very intimidated by other people seeing that, oh my God, is someone looking at me? Is someone going to be offended by the fact that we're going to be clicking their picture? Are we going to be shooed away by people? That fear sometimes gets all of us to just stand there and look and then decide. And it's a beautiful expression that maybe a mother is having towards their children, and that's the thing you want. So do we take permission while clicking a picture? Now this is what I usually do, and this is the best advice that I can give people. First of all, befriend that stranger. They are strangers. You are taking a glimpse into their life. So smile, make the eye connection. They know you're there with this big camera, and they're looking at you and you're looking at them. You want that picture. So do make the eye connect. Not many people like to be spoken. What I usually do is smile, wait around so that they know and they get comfortable with your presence. And once they're comfortable with your presence, that's it. You're going to click. And after that, I do smile, make the eye connect, and click. And one thing I've always learned about portraits is actually going in and showing them the image, saying thank you to that person for giving you a very, very precious moment of their life. It could be an emotion, it could be an expression. I'm going to start reading the questions now, since I've spoken about eye contact and first looking with your subject. Okay, it says, how do you do portrait photography with 18 to 55 lens with blurry? Well, it's the depth of field. You just have to be learning how close or far you are from your subject. What to do if they question? You will have them question, why are you clicking their photo? They are going to question you that. So you talk to them. You say you're a photographer, you're a very passionate photographer, you like to take photos of people, why you like to take photos of people, why you thought that subject is important to you. What was the nice thing? And who doesn't like being spoken nicely? It works. It works most of the time. What if we're going to capture a candid moment? Is it ethical to click? Yes, it is ethical to click a candid moment without consent. But I also say that after you've got the candid moment, to then say thank you for that image, for that candid photo. Actually going up to them and showing to them is very important as well. Should we ask them to pose at all? What I usually do is, after they are comfortable with my presence around them, I do go and say, if it's an old woman, I'd say, Kaki, aap aise baithoge, aap seedhe dekhoge, aap us taraf dekhoge. And they're quite nice. I mean, people like to be spoken to. They like to be spoken to as well on the streets. And I mean, they like that people are taking an interest in their life. Who doesn't like that? But what if should we ask them to pose at all? Like I said, yes. What else? What software do you use for quick fixes? Lightroom. I use Lightroom all the time, and that according to me is a pretty simple software to start with compared to Photoshop. So I think it's a great software to start with. So you guys could look into that. Am I the admin of this page? No, I'm not. I'm just the guest speaker at PhotoFeed today. Uh, do we print pictures and give it back? I think it's a brilliant idea. You get all these Insta cameras uh, nowadays. You just carry them, and they're really super happy after you, because I have a lot of people asking me, फिर मैडम ये photo हमको मिलेगा, and not many times are you going to go back to that street or to that city, for that matter of fact. So yes, carrying a small instant camera and actually just giving them a Polaroid of a camera, I mean, they're not very costly nowadays. You can actually get that. It's a very sweet gesture, and I also believe that if you are clicking people who are giving you a moment of their time, to then give back something to them is very important. Which is the best suitable lens for street photography? Now, portrait photography and street photography are two very, very different things. For portraits, I'm going to get on to lenses now, and I will get on to, I think, a 50 mm portrait lens is absolutely amazing. A 1.850 mm, I remember, was one of my first ever lens that I started with when I was doing photography. It is very unexpensive, so you're not putting in a lot of money. At the same time, you are getting back pictures that are worth millions of dollars. I mean, the shallow depth of field, the way it works, the low light, it just works. It's a brilliant lens. So any people who are starting off with photography, I would definitely suggest you to get a 51.8. If you're going to be doing street photography, then I think a wider lens is really essential. You could do a 24-70, you could do a 16-35, you can do a 17-40. Another very, very nice lens for portrait photography is an 85 mm, which I think is, again, very brilliant. It is an 85 mm is a 2.8 lens, and I think it's great. Aperture near 3.5. Yes. Unless you are only capturing a part of an expression, it could be the eyes, and you don't really care about the face, then you're going to do 2.8. But I'm going to talk about different kinds of portraits here as well. So there's something called as an environmental portrait that actually tells you more about the sense of place that that person is sitting in. So it's more about where the person is and what you're going to try to show. So if it could be a fruit vendor in a market, in a very busy market, with in a very crowded market, you would not want to take all the clutter. But if it is a gorgeous little child selling balloons on the beach, sitting on the sand with an absolutely amazing ambience, why wouldn't you want to click an environmental portrait of showing the texture of the sand, showing the place? So that is an environmental portrait. And then in an environmental portrait, I would use a wider lens of 24-105, and my aperture would not be f3.5. It would be probably f5.6 or 8, depending on how much of the ambience you are deciding to show in your image. We should make the other person feel that we're one of them to make the canon. Definitely. It's as simple as when a man is interested in a girl and he goes to the bar and he sees someone. What does he do? I mean, you make eye contact. You make the person feel comfortable around you so as to go and talk to the person. So do talk to people. Do make them feel that you're interested in their life. You're not here to come, click the photo and leave. That is exactly not what we do. As photographers, your subjects are very important. Give them that respect because they are giving you back an image. That might be a contest winner. That might bring you to Nat Geo. Who knows, right? So do respect them. Do talk to them. It is essentially important. What entry-level DSLR can I buy? We will talk about cameras on another session since we're only talking about portraits. Can you guys hear me now? I think you guys can. What kind of portrait do I like the most? Can someone hear me now? Sorry, is the audio not clear? Voice is good now. All right, perfect. what kind of portrait do I like the most? I do like environmental portraits, but it is very difficult to get them in cities like Varanasi or crowded places. But I think emotional and expressions, I think I do best with them. So I do like portraits that are, like they say, passport shots, but something that actually conveys an emotion or a story. For that, it does convey, every emotion that you capture does convey a story behind it. So it's quite clear. Can everyone hear me? Okay, good advice, keep it up. Thank you, Jessie G. It's really nice to see mentors here as well. What if they don't like you shooting? Do you delete the picture? No, I mean, why wouldn't they like you shooting? See, if they're a person who doesn't like you shooting, he is going to say stop shooting as soon as they see you. So I don't think deleting the picture is going to really do anything. You say sorry and you walk off. As far as you have done your job of talking to the person and saying, sorry, I did take this picture without your permission, but I am a photographer, this is my passion, blah blah. Best lens for street photography. What if they don't like you? Okay, best lens for street photography, like I said, wider lenses, 16-35, 24-70, even a 24-105. I've seen people do great things with that. 35 or 50. I prefer 50. For obvious reasons, that when you're taking a portrait, you're usually doing a top to 3/4 or a top to half or a top to quarter, and you're only doing the face and the expression. So 50 works really well, because then you can be standing either close or further away from your subject. So to me, a 50 works really well. A 35 might bring a lot of stuff that is not necessary in a portrait. Any advice for amateur photographers? Keep clicking. That's the only best thing to do. Go out there and keep clicking. Don't you try clicking people in the eye like Steve McCurry? Yes, I have. I think I have. I've actually gone top overhead with people looking at me and taken photos as well. It's all about the vibe that you're giving to that person. Are you making your subject comfortable? And I keep saying this over and over again, and you have to do it. That is your first and foremost duty of being a photographer, making your subject comfortable. Is it okay if I'm comfortable point and shoot and not DSLR? It's the same thing. I think if someone is saying that they are comfortable with point and shoot and not DSLR, it's because you are scared that someone is going to see you. So you're trying to steal those stolen moments by the small camera and not try to be noticed. But it is absolutely fine to be noticed, because but the other thing about being noticed is you cannot stand there for 2 minutes, have them to see you so that they're a bit wary about the fact that you're so close to them, and then leave. No, you need to wait around. You need to have your presence in such a way that they don't care about you anymore. They continue to do their daily routine of maybe selling or counting money or cooking or whatever they're doing. That's when you click. That's when you're getting a moment. You're not going to get a moment by just standing in front of them for 1 minute and leave. No, you're not. What is my Instagram name? It is Sonali D3. That's my Instagram. You can check it on the Photophy account. Photography as a career, yes or no? Why don't people appreciate this field as compared to officer jobs? Photography is a creative pursuit. Not everyone gets it. Some people are born with it. Some people struggle to learn it. And you learn every day. So yes, photography is a great career to have in this field where everything is a struggle. It's just about practice and getting there. How to click best portraits via mobile phone. Mobile phone photography is another thing with all the new phones and portrait modes and depth of field, shallow depth of field, with aperture being as low as 2.8 on mobile phones. I think it's a great medium to start now doing portraits with cell phones. Ma'am, how to deal with the curiosity? I think the first thing I do is I go in there and I say, आपका नाम क्या है और काकी कहाँ से आई हैं, आप यहाँ की हैं, आप if I'm in Varanasi, I ask आप बनारस की हैं, आप कहाँ से आई हैं. And after that I do talk a little bit about their lives and say, how many kids do you have, or where do you live in this city, and have you ever been, I am from Mumbai, and have you ever been there, or have you heard about it? And I'm a photographer and I love doing this. And then even if I haven't clicked her picture, I will start showing her pictures that I've clicked during the morning. I will give a little insight about why I love the city that she's living in, and that already makes them really, I would say, comfortable. And then they will have questions, and why not answer them? And that's when they become friends. They are your friends then. So do be friend. What do you think about bouncing flash in the night open to sky parties? Okay, I don't get that question. Are there any courses for travel photography? There are loads of courses that you guys can do. There is nothing better than just going out in the street and clicking. There is nothing better than that. People who are shy are going to take a few days to start getting out of their comfort zone and talking to strangers. And how do you do that? And do you get beaten up sometimes? No, you don't. People are very friendly, and if someone is really taking offense of you clicking, don't. Why? Respect their thoughts, respect their privacy, and leave. But in my 5 or 6 years of clicking portraits, I have never once been shunned away by anyone. When you do kids, I do a lot of I do carry a lot of biscuits or candies and chocolates, and that's how you get friends. And you distribute a little bit of goodies, and there they are. They're awesome. They're yours. And then you have this entire story. I have kids take me around places to show off their cousins or their mums, and there you go. Your subjects multiply after you've made that one friend in that stranger city. 18 to 55 is a kit lens, I believe. They're all great lenses. I have never once said that you will not get a good portrait if you are on an 18 to 55. I started off with a 500D, and I did 50 mm, and I did, yeah, a 24-105. That was my first one. Suggest me best oneself portraits apart from 50 mm. 85 mm, 50 mm, 85 mm. I think they're the best portrait lenses that you guys can get. You get closer, you get expression, you get emotion, you get parts, you get depth of field. What else would you want in that? What about prime lenses and street? I think it works very well. I have a 28 mm, and I think it really does work very well. Crop sensor camera can't take good images. No, of course not. That's a complete myth. Absolute complete myth. Any camera can take good pictures. That is just, it is your vision, it is what you see, and it's how you execute it. It's about you, your practice, your skills. Do read up about portraits. Do read up about what are the different kinds. What I also do is I also take portraits at different depths of field. So I will start with an aperture of f maybe 5.6, go down to 3.5, and then even go down to 2.8, maybe when I'm just focusing on her eyes or just on her smile, or when she's looking the other side and I'm just doing a side profile, and then that's when I'll go shallow depth of field. So no, it's not like that. Sorry, I am a bit backlogged on all the messages, but I am really trying to learn. Any rules for portraits? There is no rules in photography, if any of you guys know it. I mean, of course, we do follow certain rules, but breaking the rules is always fun. Any rules in photography? Please respect your subject. Please get friendly to your subject. Do know their story. I mean, it's every person has a story to tell. Do know a little bit about them. Always write down little notes. I also do a lot of things where I will ask them, oh, do you have a WhatsApp, or do you have an email? Does anyone else have an email in your family? And I do try to send them back their portraits, and they're super happy when they get that. So yes, getting a bit of getting human, and being human, like you said, and showing them the fact that you care is very important. What else am I seeing? Is it okay if I'm comfortable? Sorry, I'm missing Microsoft. I'm not. Oh, hold on. I can't hear you heard properly. Okay. I have done a few courses, but I have learned it myself as well. My Instagram ID, guys, it's in it's in the account in Photofeed. It has been uploaded that I am. Thank you. I am not in politics, but thank you very much. When Thanks, ma'am. Will there be a next session? Yes, there will be. If, to whatever you guys want, I'd be happy to help you. Event photography. I think event photography requires long lenses. 70-200 works really well. What is the best time for outdoor shoot? That's the other thing about portraits. You do get the best light early in the morning or in the evening when it's nice and the sun is kind of setting. You don't have very harsh light, but I have seen people click portraits with very harsh light as well when the shadows are falling on their faces. And managing your exposure or during harsh light is very important, because the contrast between sometimes very dark skinned people that we get and the light that is falling on them is very, very stark. The contrast is very stark. So managing your exposure well during harsh sunlight is very important. If you do see a subject that is complete in direct sunlight and you've already done your friendly bit of talking to them and making them your friends, you can actually ask them to move a little bit, maybe under a tree, maybe next to a door. I also believe light and portraiture go together. So I think door lights and window lights are very important. So if you do see someone in the house who's sitting inside, who's an absolute brilliant subject, get them to come out a bit on the door or the window. That's when you're going to get the catch light in the eyes, and then grab it and get that shot. That's going to be an amazing shot. We're going to be talking about processing and post-processing now. It's a lot of people like to over saturate colors, and that's not right. These are just opinions from someone who has been taking portraits for a bit. The skin tones get a bit fake. Also increasing your clarity just because they have wrinkles and to show it off, I don't think it does not look natural. You need to show things that are real, and that's what photography is doing. It's capturing the essence of that person by just putting the clarity up just to show off their wrinkles. If according to you that is art, maybe it is to you, but I really think that showing something that's real is very, very important. 50mm is a great lens, everybody, like we've been talking about. I'm still trying to catch up on all the messages. How to get off auto mode. Yes, we're talking about the modes in portrait photography. We are now talking about aperture. Unless your subject is running and you want to get the stark expression of them sweating and so tired of it, and then you go on to shutter. But other than that, being on aperture mode, setting your ISO according to your light. Of course, if it's stark daylight, you're going to go on to 200 or 400. While you're in a bit of a, kind of a gloomy situation, then you're going to go up higher in your ISO, and then you're going to have your aperture to whatever you would like to. Again, depending on what you're capturing, 3.5, 4, 5.6, or even 2.8. I have a lot of people who are shy, who don't like glowing close to the subject, and they shoot with a 70-200, which is absolutely fine. But I really, really think that once you guys start talking to the person, the kind of emotion and expression that you're going to get in your portrait is very, very different from what it is going to be standing behind there and clicking with a long lens. So do try to do that. Well, I think I've pretty much spoken about everything. We've spoken about portraits, getting friendly to your subject. We have spoken about post-processing. We've spoken about the lenses. And if there are any more questions that you guys would like to ask, please do. How to get an auto mode, like I said, aperture. Any tips for shy ones? Don't be shy. You like to be spoken to. Everyone likes to be spoken to. Go ahead, make that person happy, smile, learn a little bit more about your subject that you have liked, and get friendly. That's what I would do every single time. I make a lot of friends with this photography. Any suggestions for post-processing? I think I do. Ma'am, do you click in monochrome or standard? I do click on standard. I do not click on monochrome. The reason sometimes for me not clicking in monochrome is it actually tries to give you do find out the contrast between the colors, and sometimes you're like, oh, maybe the reds are clashing with the yellows a bit much, and I want my subject to move. Maybe their clothes are too bright, and I don't like this thing in black and white. You seem to miss it. So I do click in color and not in monochrome. Do open up, don't be shy. um, any good YouTube channel to learn street photography? There are so many of them. I will suggest you guys some the next time. You can DM me, I can give you some. 50 mm is a great. Why would you have a problem with the focus? The focus of the 50 mm is quite sharp. Well, just try to hike up your ISO if you're having a bit of a focus problem. Sometimes the light's not the greatest and you are shooting at a very low aperture. But do try to hike up your ISO and seeing your thing is going to be. Where can you learn post processing? YouTube videos, Lightroom tutorials. There is so much online that you can learn. Software for editing, Lightroom, like I said. How can key points remember while processing streets? Like I said, please do not oversaturate your images. Do not get on with the clarity just to show off stuff. Try to keep it real. Try to show what you saw. Of course, fix your exposures, fix all of that. I'm still in the professional word, judge on the basis of a gear. Unfortunately, photographers are very well known. The bigger the camera, the better the photographer you are. That's not true in today's world. With all these cameras come in, like the Sony, like the Fuji X-T1, the mirrorless ones. They're small in size. They're not big, but they have absolutely brilliant output. I mean, you can't even sit. You cannot do that to that. Do you like how do you take good portrait shot? Well, we've spoken about portraits. We've spoken about getting friendly to people, getting close to people, talking to people, getting the right emotion, getting the right expression, making sure your exposure and your lighting is correct. If you don't like your subject being in a certain pose and they're friendly enough to you, they will move around for you. Well, thank you for all people who think I'm inspirational. Is there anything else that I could help you guys with? I would love to answer your questions. You can DM me if you have any questions. It was really great one over here, and I would love to see you next time. Thank you.